Georgetown University has a new head basketball coach. One of the university's most famous alumni is now at the helm of the program that he brought to the national championship.
The Arena Football League's expansion to D.C. officially begins tonight as the Washington Valor kick off their inaugural season. District Wire Sports starts right now. Good afternoon, I'm Megan O'Keefe.
And I'm Dan Lagnado. Day 2 of the Masters is underway from Augusta, Georgia. Charlie Hoffman and Sergio Garcia are currently tied for the lead at 4 under par. Hoffman shot 7 under on day 1, but is 3 over today, helping Garcia to pull even with his 3 under par performance. Phil Mickelson is in search of his 4th Masters title and is tied for 4th. World number 1 Dustin Johnson is not playing in this year's Masters after suffering an injury on Wednesday night. Johnson fell down the stairs at a rental home and injured his lower back. He said the injury prevented him from swinging and forced him to withdraw before his Thursday afternoon tee time. Johnson also said he expects to be fine in a couple of days and should not miss much time on the tour.
The U.S. women's national soccer team is back together this week for their series of international friendlies in Texas. The women shut out Russia last night 4-0 in front of a sold-out crowd. Midfielder Allie Long and striker Crystal Dunn both scored 2 goals to give their team the win. Russia and U.S. will match up again on Sunday afternoon in Houston for the second round of international friendlies.
DC United wrap up a 2-game homestand this weekend as NYCFC comes to town. United is coming off a 2-1 victory over the Philadelphia Union last week, their first win of the season. These two teams played each other in New York on March 12th when NYC won 4-0. DC United is 1-2-1 on the young season, and NYC is 2-1-1.
The Arena Football League is taking over the Verizon Center. DC's newest football team plays for the first time tonight. District Wire News' Danielle DiBartolo has more.
D.C. is welcoming a new team to the Verizon Center. The Washington Valor is the first Arena League football team playing from the D.C. area. Their first game is tonight against the Baltimore Brigade.
Lots of things going on here today. They're going to have so many games and autographs and free things to do.
The Arena Football League is celebrating its 30th season this year. This game is attracting many fans because the Baltimore Brigade is also new to the AFL franchise. Verizon Center reps say box offices will be packed tonight and many tickets are already sold out.
It's like nearly sold out or getting pretty much sold out. So everybody's real excited about our new team here. Yeah, so it's exciting to have one of the very few indoor football teams of the AFL League.
The Valor are known to have some star players like wide receiver T.T. Tolliver and quarterback Eric Meyer. Fans expect a lot of touchdowns tonight.
So we saw it on the Fox channel this morning and it looks good. We've always gone to a sporting event when we come to America. We're actually from Scotland, in the UK. And this looks, I've seen this on the telly and it's a bit more exciting than American football. And it's indoors and it's going to be cold tonight, so it seemed a good thing to do.
The Green Turtle next to the Verizon Center is a fan favorite spot to drink and eat before big games. Employees at the restaurant expect there to be a large crowd for opening night.
I'm expecting a lot of people to come out. It's a whole new thing for the city. We'll see how it turns out.
Pre-game activities include a DJ dance party on F Street from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. and happy hour price drinks at the Green Turtle. The game is metro accessible on red, yellow, and green lines. For District Wire News, I'm Danielle DiBartolo.
More than 3 million boys play organized soccer in the U.S., but many say we do not train our young athletes to be professionals. Joining us today in the studio is District Wire News sports correspondent Patrick Kavanaugh with 2 guests for more on the topic. Patrick?
Thanks, Dan. I would like to welcome our guest, Johnny Plus, who plays on AU soccer team and trained at the Indiana Fire Academy before college, and Chris Finney, who played on AU soccer's team and is coaching a youth soccer league in Bethesda, Maryland. Chris, let's start with you. So, do you think the United States adequately prepares young soccer players to become professional athletes?
I don't think so. And the reason I'd say is, so say for the top teams, a team like DC United, those academies are trying to produce professional players. I think coaches focus more on their ego and they try to find players who can win them games, you know, at the 12-year-old, 14-year-old level instead of actually really finding players who have the potential to develop into a professional player.
Johnny, what do you have to add to that?
I would agree with you, but I'd also add that I think we're taking steps in the right direction with the development of more MLS academies and more pro academies. Having more kids, homegrowns into the MLS is definitely doing us a favor. But at the same time, I'd agree that we're not starting young enough and we're not finding technical players. We're just developing athletes.
Mm-hmm. And so both of you, I'm guessing, started playing soccer at a pretty young age, right? So Johnny, starting with you, how has the youth soccer program changed or not changed from when you were growing up?
When I first started playing, they just started a new league called the Development Academy. It's kind of like one of the better leagues that you can play in as a kid. So that was a whole new thing, and it took a couple tumbling steps before it started to get off the ground. But I think that it's taking steps in the right direction for developing youth players.
What about you?
I played for Annandale. Coaching in Bethesda about the same level. And to be honest, I don't see many differences, which is actually, I think, part of the problem. It's more about winning games and developing players and making sure they love the game and loving soccer.
Yeah. So Chris, what do you think you would change about the youth soccer program if you could?
So what I think is I've just been coaching a short time, but what I see from coaches around me is, like I said, they focus too much on winning. Especially for 10-year-olds, I see some coaches doing fitness with them instead of making sure they love the game, doing drills with them that aren't necessarily tedious and boring, but doing stuff that's fun, so they enjoy coming back to practice.
So I've heard an argument that the U.S. Likes to put together soccer teams that build individual players rather than the team around them. Do you think that's true, or how can the U.S. national team build a better team?
I'd say they haven't been doing a good job in the past. For example, they've got right wingers playing right back, and people don't really have, or they, like you said, they don't pick people with the right skills. But part of that is developing players to play in certain positions. So, it's basically, people don't train anybody to be a right back or train anybody to be a left forward. It's just training people to be a soccer player. So that is part of the problem.
Yeah. So Johnny, how does the U.S. System differ from elsewhere in the world?
A lot of different systems start a lot younger and put a huge emphasis on professional. In the U.S., the only real pro academies are MLS teams, but somewhere like England, there's a first, second, all the way through fifth division that are still pro. Each of those teams will have youth academies where kids can sign pro and train with professionals their entire life. So it differs pro teams, and a lot of focus on making it to college, just playing through the end of high school rather than actually making a career out of it.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining us, Chris and Johnny. Coming up on District Wire News next, we have more on March Madness and Patrick Ewing as the new head basketball coach at Georgetown University. We'll be right back after the break.